So there are a couple of documents, there's a couple of things we use, couple of publications we use that tell us where there are some really good markets. And if you listen to us kind of going forward, I can tell you more about those, about some of those publications. Are Provo, Utah, Raleigh, North Carolina, Dallas, Plano, Irvine, Texas, San Francisco, Fort Collins, Colorado, Northport, Sarasota, Bradenton in Florida, Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford in Florida, Nashville, Davidson, Murfreesboro in Tennessee, Austin, Round Rock in Texas again, and Salt Lake City, Utah. So here is the thing with this, is that a lot of times people don't, a lot of people already know that these are hot markets. They know jobs are coming in. They know that that these are areas where everybody's wanting to buy. So it is particularly difficult to find good deals in markets that everybody knows is hot. So what we try and do are to find less well-known markets, but that have evidence of growth, where if you kind of look at jobs coming in and how things are moving, that these are good places to begin to look. And some of those are Savannah, Greenville, Anderson, Malden, South Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky, Des Moines, Iowa, Madison, Wisconsin, Asheville, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, and Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. And there are a lot of others. So if you are in an area and you want to stay around where you live to begin with to look, then that works too. So almost all areas, almost any town, so we could take Ann Arbor, we could take Baltimore, we could take Columbus, we could take Memphis, Tennessee, so you kind of name it. And there are areas within that city where there is jobs coming in and there's more growth. And if you talk to a commercial real estate broker and ask them where the path of progress is, they're going to be able to tell you where things are being built, where things are growing. And that's typically where you want to go looking if you want to stay kind of where you are. So if you are, if the path of progress, like in Baltimore, Washington, the path of progress is basically between Washington and Baltimore along the I-95 corridor. It is infilling like crazy. And before too much longer, you can't tell where one's going to leave off and the other begins. But there are other areas where things tend to be growing. So if you were to look at outside of the Washington area, in an area called Martinsburg, West Virginia, which is about 60 miles, there is a lot of building coming in there. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of jobs coming in. So if you want to stay kind of where your town is or your city is, then you need to look around and find where those jobs are. Where is growing? Okay, so around here, like I said, we're from Baltimore, Washington. Here is on a list of 200. Here's where some of the markets around us show up. So Richmond is 87, Philadelphia 98, Washington, Arlington, Alexandria 118, Salisbury, which is on the Maryland coast, is 120, Baltimore, Columbia, Towson 125, Silver Spring, Rockville, Frederick 129, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News is 180. So typically, if I'm going to look for things for properties, I want to be kind of, if I got a list of 200, I sort of want to be in the middle third. So I'm going to be looking for things that are, 67 to 133, something like that. But areas where I can find good deals also. So I wouldn't probably want Virginia Beach, Norfolk. So find areas where there is jobs coming in, where there is some growth, but not necessarily where everybody knows about it. So here's one other thing I just want to kind of bring up and tell you a little bit. If you start looking in the newspapers and start trying to find out who's announcing that they are building something or they're bringing in jobs, you're going to find a lot of newspapers or a lot of articles where they're hearkening that they're going to be building this plant in Florence, South Carolina. They're going to be building this plant in Savannah, Georgia. Okay. There is a big difference between announcing plans and actually starting to build, to get to actually buy a site, to get plans, to actually break ground. I don't know about you, but I have been in a number of planning sessions where the plan never took off. We spent a lot of time and effort on the plan, and then the plan set on a bookshelf waiting for something, who knows what, and it never happened. So the same thing happens in real estate. So we don't want to just look for something where they have announced the plans to do something. You want to actually see where they have started to implement those plans before you go looking to buy. All right, so I want to switch now for just a minute to talk about some of the markets that I've invested in the past. And along with this, I want to talk just a little bit about how we begin to look at analyzing and growing your portfolio. So Pittsburgh, when I started buying there, was 2003. It started showing some signs of change in the market. The market was stabilizing. For a long time, Pittsburgh was not doing so well. And then it started getting in some other kinds of businesses, etc. And it started growing. So in 2003, I bought 4 properties in and around Pittsburgh. We're a total of 33 units. And it cost a total of about $950,000. And over the time, we've added $1 million in equity, and it looks like I need to fix that slide, so I'm sorry. Please forget that. It's actually supposed to be $1 million. And the monthly cash flow now is over $8,000 a month. Now that's after the mortgage is paid, after all the bills are paid. So you have cash flow of about $8,000 a month. So this was fairly early in my investing career where I wasn't so good at this. And so it's taken a long time. So if you look, it's 2018, that's 15 years. And it's taken me 15 years to double the value of those properties. Later properties I bought, it hasn't taken so long. The good news story here is that I've held these for 15 years, and now from 33 units, I have a cash flow of about $8,000 a month, which is nothing to sneer at. So I also, early in my career, I was scared of big deals. So here's kind of what that looks like. So I had a 14 unit, a 5 unit, a 12 unit, and a 2 unit. And why you say the 2 unit? Well, because that's not commercial, but it was very close to my 12 unit. And I had a really good price for it. So I went, what the heck? So we bought those. So here is basically what the purchase price is, what the current value is about. So I haven't updated this in about a year, so it's probably a little more, but this gives you a general idea. And the equity. And so we've added a little over $1 million, and there's what the current cash flow is, at least what it was in 2017, at the end of 2017. So not too bad.